I'm Kirsten. I started hiking the New Hampshire 48 last month in September. I'm still pretty early in the list, learning the trails one at a time and figuring out all the ins and outs of hiking as I go. This trip covers Mount Pierce to Mount Eisenhower on a windy but clear October day. It will be my fourth summit over 4,000 feet. I'm starting this section from Mount Pierce, which is part of the Southern Presidential Range in New Hampshire's White Mountains. The weather's mid-October, so temperatures in the 50s, and there's a constant steady wind well above the tree line. Mount Pierce sits at about 4,310 feet and is one of New Hampshire's 48 4,000 footers. The Crawford Path I came up on is actually the oldest continuously maintained hiking trail in the US, built in the early 1800s. And it's also part of the Appalachian Trail, so this stretch follows the spine of the Southern Presidentials. And today's goal is to follow the ridge from Pierce to Eisenhower and return the same way, so it'll be an out and back hike. From the top of Pierce, the ridge opens up almost immediately. You get panoramic views towards Mount Eisenhower, that rounded summit in front, and Mount Washington further north. The trail stays above treeline for most of this section with these scattered, short, wind-stunted evergreens that you can see. The terrain is mostly rock and packed soil with some bog bridges in the dip. It's about 1.5 miles from Pierce to Eisenhower, and even though it looks close, it takes about 45 minutes. In October, most of the vegetation up here has turned brown or gold, and it's one of the few times a year when you can hike the ridge without that summer haze and the thick crowds that come with it. Even in the 50s, the wind chill can drop the temperature, so layers and gloves are a must for me. The trail climbs gradually for a bit and then starts the final approach up Eisenhower. The summit is 4,760 feet-ish, and about 450 feet higher than Pierce, and the summit is completely exposed. The trail curls around to the right before reaching the cairn at the top. Eisenhower is named after President Eisenhower, though it apparently used to be called Mount Pleasant, and the official name was changed in the 1970s to complete that presidential range theme. From the summit, you can see we get 360-degree views, Mount Washington to the north, Crawford Notch to the south, and the Franconia Ridge to the far west. And on clear days, I read you can sometimes see as far as the mountains in Vermont. The wind is super strong here, so I didn't stay long. I felt like I was going to be blown over. The return trip follows the same route along the Appalachian Trail. The ridge walk back felt easier since I'm descending overall. Back towards Pierce, the trail passes through low alpine spruce. These trees are only a few feet tall because of the constant wind and ice. It's a short but fascinating transition zone. Within half a mile, you go from exposed alpine to this full evergreen forest. And once you drop below treeline, you rejoin the forest and the sound changes almost immediately. There's no more wind, it's just the leaves and runoff. And from here, it's about 1.5 miles down the Crawford Path, back to the junction with the Crawford Connector and the parking lot. Mount Pierce is often used as an introduction to the Presidentials because it's one of the easier 4,000 footers with treeline exposure. And adding Eisenhower makes it a solid half-day ridge hike. It's about 6.5 miles round trip with roughly 2,700 feet of elevation gain. That's the full hike, Pierce to Eisenhower and back along the Appalachian Trail. Mid-October, steady winds, clear views, and one of the best short ridge walks in the White Mountains. I'd rate this hike 9 out of 10.
Is there any better feeling than making it back to the parking lot to your car? Oh my goodness.